Podcast City Network.
Hey guys, this is Chris of FinalScore and the Podcast City Network, and we are back live at City Limits Tap Room. And you know, it's always exciting when we're here because we are here as part of Draft Day. We're going to taste test. Look, I've already been drinking too much.
Clearly.
Clearly.
Yes,
you know, I thought I had just a little bit, but you know.
A little bit more never hurt, right?
No, never hurts. Just throw a little on top, it'd be all right. But again, we are here for Draft Day at City Limits. It's been a long time since we've had one, and you haven't been able to be a part of one yet.
Yeah, this is my first Draft Day. I'm really excited. Should be a lot of fun today.
I mean, at least you got, well...
I'm trying to look somewhat professional here, okay?
Well, the crap doesn't come off. That's okay. So at least it's not a big yellow M, you know, so... But we'll get more into college sports later. Anyways, we are here for Draft Day. It's going to be really exciting. If you are watching us live, that means you're watching us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Podcast City Network. Definitely make sure that you give us a subscribe, a follow, a like. Drop us some comments. We're going to be reading them as we do the show. And then make sure you also follow us on all of our social media outlets for the Podcast City Network, on Facebook at /Podcast City Network, on Twitter at Podcast City Net, and of course, our website, podcastcity.net. And of course, where can they find FinalScore?
You can find them all over the place. We've got Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. I'm forgetting one. iHeartRadio.
Google Play Music.
Google Play Music.
Yeah, we're everywhere. And then on social media.
Social media, we've got at PCN Final Score on Twitter and on Facebook.
Yes, so definitely make sure you go check us out. Give us a like, give us a follow, and keep up to date on all the things we have going on because we have so much going on and a lot of big announcements that we're going to save for later. So live in fear or anticipation. I guess it really wouldn't be fear. I don't know. I've had too much to drink already. But
speaking of fear,
we do need to talk about the NBA because there's been a lot of insanity in this ever unfolding LA Lakers saga. Where are we at now in this whole thing?
So just a few days ago, the senior writer at ESPN, Baxter Holmes, put out a story on ESPN.com titled Lakers 2.0, the failed reboot of the NBA's crown jewel. And this story reveals so much about what was going on behind the scenes of the LA Lakers organization. Magic Johnson, Rob Pelinka, and all of the anticipation that came up when they first came on, and then how quickly things turned and went sour as they got started.
I tell you what, this has just been an insane saga, and there's so much coming from every side with LeBron wanting to try and recuse himself from a lot of this, and really not talk much about it until recently, I heard.
Yeah, so supposedly he's never really been much of a fan of Luke Walton, their ex-head coach, who's
Definitely
now
not.
with the Sacramento Kings. But he was always trying to keep himself out of it. But turns out his agent was not quite as quiet about a lot of this stuff.
Ooh.
From sources that were in this story, he was apparently granted unprecedented access as an agent to the charter planes, behind the scenes, just in the front office. He was always around in practices, and there was always a level of not only fear, but it's just they called it a, quote, culture killer.
Wow, that's pretty extreme.
Of Clutch Sports, involved in all of the things that are going on in the front office. And obviously he was there the year before because one of his clients is Contavious Caldwell-Pope, who's also on the team. Apparently he was there, quote, scouting Luke Walton to see if he'd be a viable coach for LeBron James to play under.
That just seems ridiculous to me. Like, really?
But reading into more to this story, Baxter Holmes points out that not only was he granted this access, the front office of Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson bent over backwards for him. Basically let him do almost whatever it was that he wanted in terms of voicing his opinion, and they weren't even consulting anybody that other side was in the front office. They were just doing whatever they wanted to, and a lot of the quotes that came out of this story were there was no sense of direction. They lived in fear and just constant beratement.
Oh my goodness. This sounds absolutely ridiculous. That with other stories that have come out around this, it's been very, very interesting. The Lakers just seem to kind of keep this runaway train of just drama and what I'm going to term now insanity, because I feel like we've upgraded to that point. We're past just it being a crazy story now. This is a truly insane scenario that is going down in L.A., and I'm sure nobody at this point thought this was going to happen. I'm still calling for it, though. Jeannie Buss needs to sell the franchise.
Of course she does. That's the only way out of all of this.
It really is.
Completely clear house. I mean, you kind of had to know it was coming when she got rid of Mitch Kupchak, who was well respected, and then got rid of her own brother, who was in the front office, to bring in Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson.
Oh my goodness, it's absolutely ridiculous. And of course, Magic does what he does, and obviously had his sound off moment not too long ago. And it just blows my mind that this has been able to devolve to this point where literally I feel like control of the franchise is gone. Nobody has control right now. Things are just kind of flying left and right. Whatever sticks to the wall sticks. Whatever doesn't, there's a trash can under you. So it's kind of not only, like I said, insane, but it's very shocking at not only what has happened, but what could happen.
Yeah, and you could tell right away they were talking about not only the type of attitude and demeanor that Magic Johnson was putting forward. One of the officials up in the front office said that everybody in the public sees the smiling face and the happy attitude, but behind the scenes he's very confrontational. He's very, I don't make mistakes, you can't make it. He's very perfectionist, but to a fault for what it seems.
Definitely. And, it's not bad to try and have a perfectionist mentality, especially when you're talking about a professional level of sport where you're bringing guys together to be able to come under who you're paying millions of dollars to be able to come together, try and win you a championship and make some type of noise. But now you just have this, a quote-unquote crap show.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff going on, and this is just a few of the stories that have been pointed out in here. It's a great read. If you have a chance, the 15, 20 minutes or so to read it, it's a great read on ESPN.com. But one of the other things I wanted to point out was, this just to me was, you were talking about insanity was the great word to use. One of the guards, Contavious Caldwell Pope, who I mentioned.
Poop? Yeah.
Poop. That's basically what he plays like, but it's a different story.
That's for a different show.
But basically what happened was he went to jail for violating terms of his probation on his DUI case that he had.
Oh, my gosh.
For a while back. They supposedly let him out to practice and play with the team while serving a 25-day jail sentence. He wasn't allowed to leave the state, so he missed maybe 4 games, but he started 9 games in the state of California.
Oh, my goodness.
And was allowed to still travel with the team. But he's supposed to be in jail. One official that was close to the situation pointed out that this was unprecedented, that this even was allowed to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And most teams just put him on suspension, or they just say, hey, go ahead, step away, just serve your time, come back to the team, and do your due diligence. Apparently not Magic and Rob Pelinka. They said, you know what? No, that's what the judge said. You can do this. So apparently it was some kind of work. It was like a work release kind of thing where he was allowed to do it. So they said technically they were within the law. But it's just such a weird turn of events that you never see at any other franchise.
Well, maybe they're trying to come up with some type of distraction to kind of distract you from everything else going on. Maybe,
that's possible.
Because, hey, why not just have somebody get arrested? Because all these other franchises have this. I mean, for years, you had Cincinnati Bengals. Every single, not even year, not even month, every week, it seemed like a different Cincinnati Bengal was getting arrested. And at the end of the day, they're still trotting along perfectly fine. Most stories went under the rug in about 4 to 5 weeks. So, maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe.
But they never had somebody that was still allowed to play while they were serving a, quote, jail sentence.
You know what? Maybe that is highway robbery. The Cincinnati Bengals maybe should have talked to their lawyers a little bit more, because they could have had some guys on work release.
I mean, Vontaze Burfict, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, that's probably the only one I would have stretched for.
It's the only one I can actually remember out of that group, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some of them didn't mean anything because after they got arrested, they kind of got shipped out.
But so many other things out of this story just blow your mind compared to what a normal business and normal human being would kind of approach these situations.
Right.
From a business standpoint, it's way out in left field for me. But I got to ask you, you've seen parts of this story. What do you make of this story?
Oh, my gosh.
You've kind of already touched on it. What do you make out of this?
Honestly, I feel like it's just ever devolving. now we're getting to the point, I feel like, what comes next kind of thing. And there's going to be something. It's not even like, oh, does this maybe kind of end and we're kind of just sitting on the edge of our seat waiting for that moment. No, there's going to be a next thing followed by another thing that's ultimately always going to lead down to Jeannie Buss selling the team and possibly LeBron leaving the Lakers. I'm not going to say LA, but possibly leaving the Lakers.
I mean, it's possible. I would definitely see him leaving the Lakers. I don't know about him going to the Clippers, but hey, it's possible if he wants to stay in LA. I mean, his kid is going to an academy there in Los Angeles now.
Oh yeah, and he's established that he really likes being in the LA area. So
definitely, for me, what I see out of this is kind of just reiterating what I've been saying and pounding the table with the last few weeks. Just saying that the Magic Johnson aura that everybody sees around the league is just a facade.
Right.
It's just a facade. He's not exactly the best person to work with, clearly.
No, definitely not.
But I think this is just going to keep getting worse and worse for the LA Lakers. And ultimately, yeah, it's going to have to come down to, like you said, Jeannie Buss is going to have to try to sell this team or do something to try to change the culture. If that means getting rid of Rob Pelinka,
oh yeah,
now Magic's already gone, just clean house and start all over, so be it.
But the big question I always feel like, is it with or without LeBron? Because at the end of the day, you can still build something around LeBron that even when LeBron decides to step away and retire, which we know eventually will happen, that, hey, maybe we might have a nice nucleus here. However, I'm of the opinion that because of the ragtag group they've had assemble this roster, that's not going to be the case. And I feel like literally cut it all out, throw it to the side, start fresh.
I agree. I think that's what they should do. LeBron's obviously not going to be around for too much longer. He's in his late 30s, so probably going to retire in a couple of years. But I don't even know if he finishes out his contract in LA.
I don't either.
But that is going to be something in the future that we're going to have to address for sure. And I can't wait to keep seeing what happens out of this unfolding story.
Well, I think the next big question, though, with it is, does it happen before or after the next season starts?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's a very good question.
I have my moments.
I think, yeah, you do. You do have your moments. I mean, minus all that. But yeah, I think it happens in the middle of next season.
Ooh, that's even more dangerous.
I don't even think it happens at the beginning of this season because they're going to try to put together whatever they can and then try to run through the first month or two of the season, see what happens. I think once you get around the trade deadline, that's when you're going to start seeing a lot of things just fall apart. And then I think at the end of the year, LeBron's probably gone. Whether he opts out, I think he can opt out after the second year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Or they trade him or something. I mean, that's unprecedented in and of itself. But if you run the Lakers, you might have to think about it.
Definitely. That's very interesting. Honestly, I think I could see, depending upon how events may unfold, it could happen right before the season. But if it weren't to happen then, definitely in mid-season. But I feel like if it happens then, like, you're going to see just an utter implosion of the team from top to bottom. And they might barely be fielding a team come that part of the season. So
I agree. I don't think anybody really is lining up to play with LeBron anymore like they were when he was in Miami, which that's been a common, I wouldn't say theme, but it's more of a theory right now that a lot of players don't really want to play with him anymore. And a lot of those players that did want to play are now retired.
And at the end of the day, when you see a lot of these younger players that are now coming into their own, that are able really to go out there and just ball all day, don't really look at a guy like LeBron like a need. I don't need to play with you. And I think that's the mentality a lot are taking because LeBron, honestly, is not the player he used to be. He's still good. I'll give him that. But he's not what he used to be. And like we have said earlier, he is on the backside of 30, so retirement is going to be coming up. So all that in mind, most players are really just trying to assert themselves rather than try and play with LeBron. These aren't the big 3 days, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So at the end of the day, though, we do need to give a really large round of applause.
Yeah, round of applause, Baxter Holmes, yes.
Getting that story out there, buddy.
So it's really weird the fact that this story came out on ESPN because you know how historically they don't like to put scathing stories about their key franchises like the New Yorks or the
Dallases.
I mean, even to an extent in the NFL, Dallas, but it's just really interesting that the senior writer for ESPN basically said, you know what, I've been compiling this story for years now, it's got to go out, and they gave them the green light. And that's, now I know they've been trying to sprinkle this into their Sports Center shows, but it's been really interesting because the dynamic with how they're friendly with Magic Johnson in this story is the complete opposite of what they show in front of the camera. So it'll be really interesting to see if Magic calls out Baxter Holmes for some of these things that come out. But when you've got handfuls of people that have worked under this organization that are all corroborating these stories and these rumors, at some point, Magic can't sweep this under the rug and just put on a smiling face anymore.
No, you really can't. You know, once you see all the things that are happening in the underlying of the actual franchise, you're going to want to distance yourself. And at first, we thought this was Magic just being a quitter. And honestly, we're starting to learn that it's a lot more than just him being a quitter. Because we've seen how Magic was as a coach and with other standings. But now this is starting to make a little bit more sense, at least from his standpoint.
Yeah, it does make a little bit more sense from Magic's standpoint. But to me, I'm still seeing it as when you create that kind of a culture, don't be surprised when it comes back around full circle and bites you in the ass.
That is true.
Which I think is exactly what happened.
That is very true. But talking about things that could possibly end up biting you in the ass, we need to talk about the ever-growing dumpster fire known as the Houston Rockets.
This is insane. I haven't been able to see this coming for a while. I mean, you would think that, okay, they're just going to reload, they'll get ready for next year, and that'll be it. But this is definitely not the case. This has just come up while we were getting ready for the show over the last couple of days. This story broke, and basically what came down to is the Rockets GM, Daryl Morey, said that, quote, every player is available.
That's so crazy to me.
Every player is available.
Including their staple, James Harden.
Including James Harden.
Oh, my goodness.
That's pretty far-fetched that he could actually be available because of his style of play, and not a lot of teams like the way that he plays. It's not really conducive to championship basketball.
True.
But it's really more so, how are you going to, if you even find someone to want him, you can't get rid of his $38 million contract he's got this year, and
not that easy.
He's got, I think, $170 million left on his contract, and then you got Chris Paul, who's now also on the block, 34 years old, but he's got 3 years and $124 million left on his deal. There's no team that's going to conceivably want to take on that kind of money for a guy who's barely on the floor. Really, he's always hurt now.
Yeah, it does seem like he's always hurt, but hey, it's because he's 34 years old. The guy's getting older. And when you get these players that are getting older that you end up trying to put a lot of minutes on, they end up breaking and wearing down quicker. It's just how it works. But like you said, Chris Paul's getting paid a stupid amount of money. I think you might have a hard time finding someone to pick that up, especially only for 3 years. That's not too bad, but I mean, we're talking about Chris Paul. He's 34 years old.
Yeah, and you got to imagine how much mileage does he realistically have in full seasons. I mean, judging by what he's been doing in Houston the last few years, he hasn't been healthy for a full season his whole tenure, I don't believe.
Well, the thing is, too, is that he's not even the premier player there, and he's still getting injured.
But he's still the highest paid player on the roster.
Funny how that works.
It's weird. It's weird. But other players that expect to be on the move this offseason, Clint Capella, who they just signed him to that massive deal not too long ago. He's making almost $15 million a year. Eric Gordon, who's he just turned 30 this past year. He's got roughly $14 million on his cap as well, as far as cap space is concerned. So those guys, I could see them getting moved to some team that wants another piece to
definitely
try to push them over the top. But other than that, I mean, you're kind of stuck, in my opinion, with this roster if you're the Rockets.
Yeah, and that's really crazy to think about. But even on top of that, there's another big piece of this whole puzzle, I think, that's really going to be really telling with how a lot of this is going to work out. What do you think that is? I
agree. You got to be talking about head coach Mike D'Antoni here.
I am.
Recently, in the last few days, he has apparently ended contract negotiations for an extension with management, but he does plan to complete the final year of his deal this upcoming season. But a lot of rumors have been swirling about why this might be happening, or maybe he just kind of balked at the contract that he was offered by management. But his agent, Warren Laguerre, stated that he wanted to clear things up. Apparently, from what he said, quote, the reported $5 million is really $2.5 million because it comes with contingencies. One, It's only $5 million if he makes the playoffs, and 2 if he's actually coaching the team by the end of the year. End quote. So if he even they struggle out the gate, they fire him, he's still going to get $2.5 million.
Oh yeah.
But he obviously was making $4.5 this last year. He wants to make obviously more than that.
Well, definitely.
But this is really an interesting turn, and especially with the GM saying that everybody is on the block and available. What's going to happen with this head coach? So are they going to have to essentially clear everybody because of the fact that D'Antoni's leaving and half your players are going to be gone by the end of the year as well? It's a complete culture change, and that's going to be a really this is a big pivotal offseason for the Houston Rockets.
It most definitely is from every type of angle, and I feel like maybe there's even a small amount of planning, waiting game to where maybe winning is not going to be their top priority going into this next season. Just because of the fact you're going to have a lot of players that are going to be a little bit disgruntled. They already know their head coach is going to be leaving. There's going to be a massive roster turnover that's going to be coming up after the season, if not even before that end of the season. So it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how all this is going to play out. But looking at this, where do you think they go from here?
Well, if I'm the GM of the Rockets, it's a really tough situation first and foremost because, like we said, you're kind of stuck with Chris Paul. You're stuck with James Harden. You're going to have to make those two work it out because nobody's going to want to take. But those two players take up over 60% of the team's cap space.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
So you're kind of stuck with just plug-and-play pieces outside of that. I would think they're going to have to trade guys like PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, aging veterans that, or maybe they turn around and trade Clint Capella, who's 25 years old. Maybe there's a team that really wants that kind of a center to help push them over the top. But you've got to make some kind of moves here. But if you got to make a decision one way or the other.
Oh yeah.
If you want to blow this team up, don't wait, blow it up now, or you're going to have to wait till next season and maybe hope that D'Antoni comes back or whatever the case may be. It's a really difficult decision, though, if you are in the front office of the Houston Rockets right now.
Oh, absolutely. But I feel like with D'Antoni, I feel like he's going to be gone. I don't think they're going to be able to work anything out. And with that precedent set, I think players are kind of give up. And I think as a GM, you need to kind of realize that maybe this is just going to be a crap year because now you're going to go. This is going to be a transition year of sorts, transitioning out of a new regime. Because then the following season is going to be transitioning into your new regime. But looking at it, like you said, there's a lot of players they could move, but I feel like no matter what, you have to move either Chris Paul or James Harden to try and free up enough space to try and bring in something that's going to be worth. And honestly, if you were to trade either of those two, maybe not so much Chris Paul, but definitely James Harden, because of the type of production he had last season, there definitely will be a team that would take him on. It's just finding the right fit, and not just the right fit, but enough compensation that it's going to be worth it for you to be able to build towards that brighter future.
Right, I completely agree. This is going to have to be something they're going to have to do, but if really what they want to do, you're going to probably be stuck with this roster and this coaching staff this year. So this is basically going to be 1 year. Let's just make one last run at it, see what happens, and try to maybe make a trade at the trade deadline if something comes available. But honestly, if you're the Rockets, you have to sit and wait until next offseason to make anything happen.
Absolutely.
So we'll have to see what happens going forward with them.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens, but also make sure that you stick to the pulse of Final Score, as you know, as things unfold, that we will most definitely be reporting upon it. But switching a little bit of gears now, we're going to take a look at our NBA playoffs, at our NBA now finals. We're finally to the finals, and you know what? I got to pat myself on the back really, really hard, because I called it right that the Toronto Raptors were going to make it all the way to the NBA Finals. You doubted me. You did.
I did.
But we the North.
Just remember, who's got the series called right now? Yeah.
But you know what? You know what? Just because your team that you picked to win it all is there, doesn't mean that my team in the North still can't make things happen.
But correct me if I'm wrong, though. Didn't you have the Raptors losing in this round to the Houston Rockets, who are now in complete shambles?
There's baseball going on behind me.
Nobody cares about college baseball right now. We're talking.
So at the end of the day, yes, I did pick the Toronto Raptors to lose to the Houston Rockets.
Way to jump off the bandwagon, Drake.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It got cold on that bandwagon, okay? It's really cold in Canada. All right? We got to keep that in mind here.
It is very cold in Canada.
Safety first, then teamwork. All right. So that being said, now that Houston's not there, I cannot jump on the ultimate bandwagon known as the Golden State Warriors. So with that, I realign back to the East and pick the Toronto Raptors to win this. Still 6 games.
Still 6 games.
Still 6 games.
I mean, based on game 1, what we saw, that this game looks like it could be the Toronto's Raptors series to lose.
It absolutely could.
Winning by 9 at home, and not only is your first ever NBA Finals game, and winning in your first game, the track records, history shows, were not in Toronto's favor. They had never won a game 1 of a series that they've been in.
Yeah, until now.
The Warriors played so well in game 1s under Steve Kerr. I think only losing maybe one game 1.
Maybe.
Maybe one?
Maybe one?
Maybe one game 1.
Maybe one game 1.
But Toronto, give them a lot of credit. They came out and they looked great in the first game. Pascal Siakam, one of your boys.
My boy.
One of your boys.
Couldn't pronounce your name at the beginning of the season.
I love
saying.
that quiz. It worked out well for you.
We got to bring that back sometime. But anyways.
I'll bring one back.
Yeah? I'll get
Baseball
you too.
edition. You're screwed.
It's all right. I'll just bring out hockey and we'll see how well we do.
That's true. We'll probably both fail that one.
Probably.
But Pascal Siakam, 32 points and 8 rebounds in this game. He shot 82% from the floor.
82%.
82% from the floor.
That has to be a record.
He couldn't be stopped.
No, he couldn't. But I think a lot of that is due to the fact that Golden State was playing a little bit looser from what I saw. They weren't quite as tight on defense like I've normally seen them in past series. So I wonder if maybe they find a way to rotate that back around.
Well, they're always going to be making adjustments in game 2 because, I mean, if you're Golden State on a series like this, when you're starting off on the road, you're hoping to just split. Whether it's game 1 or game 2, you're hoping to split so you can shift that momentum back to you for your home court advantage.
No, most definitely.
If you're going by chalk, of course, Toronto should win the first 2 games at home and go from there. They should. But we'll see how they respond. Boogie Cousins played for the first time in a couple of rounds.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Warriors, so he looked really well even after tearing his quad.
Well, we also had some interesting info that they might have Kevin Durant back for as soon as game 4.
Maybe game 4.
Maybe game 4.
I don't think he plays this round.
I mean, in my opinion, I feel like he's already done for the season. But you never know. And honestly, if it came down to it and they needed something to try and lean on, maybe the type of emotional boost having Kevin Durant on the floor could be enough to try and help propel them. Yeah,
it's very possible. They're going to have to play a lot better, though. They did not necessarily play too well in this game at all. You got Klay Thompson, who, he scored 21 points, but his plus-minus was -10 in this game. Not playing very well from the field.
Well, we'll definitely find out a lot more once we get to Game 2 in Toronto, which will be tomorrow, June 2nd, 8 p.m. on ABC. We always know that's always going to be a very telling game at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an exciting game. I can't wait to see the energy. The one thing that we haven't talked about, haven't put in this show outline, is the energy that Toronto has brought. This series has been nothing short of amazing.
Well, they're getting it all from Drake.
Their fan base... Yeah, Drake definitely brings an extra X factor when it comes to the crowd.
Oh, he does.
He had traded some words with Draymond Green at the end of game 1 too.
Oh, that was quite funny to watch, and even he had a little bit of John with Steph Curry at one point too. So
it's really funny because I thought it was hilarious that he was wearing Del Curry's Raptors jersey. But then he had a armband covering up the 2 tattoos that he has.
That I think read
Steph
what?
Curry
30 and 35,
yeah,
I think
Steph
it was.
Curry and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, wearing that so he doesn't seem like he's a total traitor. Call me the bandwagoner.
I thought it was hilarious.
Go Magic.
But yeah, can't wait for game 2 on Sunday on ABC. It's going to be 8 o'clock. And then, depending on if maybe it's evened up, home court advantage goes back to the Oracle Arena.
They could.
Or... The Raptors could find themselves in unprecedented territory, up 2-0 in a first ever finals. Golden State could be looking down the barrel of 0-2, going back home, and potentially they're going to have to play really, really well on Wednesday for Game 3 to avoid 0-3.
They definitely will, but honestly,
they've never been in.
No, they've never been in this type of position. But I feel like Toronto will win this next one at home. They have that energy; it's very hard to match. And the North is ready for this. However, when they get back to Oakland, back to the Golden State and start playing game 3 and 4, I think that's when Steph Curry will start coming on more. They'll be able to feed off of their crowd, be able to get themselves and their home court advantage to be able to take games 3 and 4. However, I feel Toronto will win the next 2 and win this in Oakland to give that little bit of sting.
I thought you said they were going to win 6.
That is 6. Game 6 is in Golden State. You wrote it yourself. Can't blame me.
That's what the networks wrote.
Yes. So, it's in Game 6 in Oakland.
Oh, I thought you were saying they were going to sweep in Oakland.
No.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
More clearly.
No. More clearly. Sorry. Win the first 2, lose the next 2, then win the next 2. There you go.
Yeah, that's not confusing at all.
That's not confusing. 2, 2, and 2. That's how it works.
So if you're the Warriors, you've really got to hope that Draymond Green steps up and plays a lot better than he has been playing. He did have a triple-double in the first game, but he only scored 10 points. He shot 2 of 9 from the floor. Did not look very good. They need other guys to step up along with Draymond. The guys off the bench. Warriors bench has been scoring over 30 points in each of the last 5 playoff games. They need that to continue if they really want a chance at evening the series going back to Oakland for Game 3.
It definitely will, but we'll definitely see how it all plays out. I expect this to be a very exciting series. Nobody expected Toronto to take Game 1. Just with the history of their Game 1s in general in the playoffs, and obviously given the recent track record of Golden State, nobody expected this. However, this is what's going to make it an exciting series. And we'll definitely find out more tomorrow, June 2nd, at 8 p.m. on ABC. So definitely make sure that you tune in and enjoy that game, because I know I'm going to be watching it. But taking a look at another final, our NHL Stanley Cup final between the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues. Whoever thought we were going to say those two names in the finals this year?
Nobody in, 49 years ever thought they would see the St. Louis Blues make it back to the Stanley Cup final, yet here they are. And not only are they in the final, they finally won their first appearance. They won their first game in the Stanley Cup final ever. They previously been 0 of 13, and they won a 3-2 thriller in Boston, Game 2.
Oh, yeah, it was absolutely exciting when, obviously, all the way down to the wire, you end up in OT. But it's really great to see the St. Louis Blues actually do it, seeing how they were previously 0 and 13 in the Stanley Cup finals. So, way to go, St. Louis Blues. You got your first win ever. Now let's see if you can make more magic happen. Maybe knock off the Boston Bruins, because who likes those guys?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Oh, okay.
For the record. But
for the record, your teams are all over the place. I'm actually mostly like all Detroit. So.
Well, sorry. I like to be culturally diverse and include all great parts of this country. Listen, stuff I got to put up with, I swear. But at the end of the day, though, they did split the regular season 1-1, so it's very fitting that they are now tied in the series 1-1. So we'll definitely see how it works out. But the score differential is so close. So you look at it, the Bruins have only scored 6 goals, the Blues have scored 5. And I really do expect this trend to really continue throughout this playoff, where it's really just going to be to the wire, game in and game out. But at the end of the day, who do you have taking this one?
Well, I mentioned in last week's episode, we talked about what to expect out of this final, and this could have gone one of two ways. Boston could have just come through and been a buzzsaw and just take 4 games in a row.
Definitely.
Which is what a lot of people were expecting. But as I mentioned, watch out for St. Louis. They play physical. Yes, they played in a lot of extended series as far as their past rounds, but I would not be surprised if they make this a 6 or 7 game series. However, I do see the Boston Bruins hoisting Lord Stanley's Cup at the end of the series.
I really hope that doesn't happen. I'd like to see the St. Louis Blues actually kind of make a roll and maybe have something happen, but it's definitely going to be interesting. I see this going down where the Blues could actually take this, but I think it would end up taking them all 7 games. My only worry is I don't know if they have the physicality to really match up with Boston to last out 7 games. So sadly, I do see Boston winning this in 6. But I'd like to see St. Louis make me eat my words, and I've done that a lot already this year. So I really hope you guys can line up and be the next team to do it. That way I can see you guys hoist it. My words are all over the place. Hoist.
I mean,
Lord
we are
Stanley's
hosting
Cup.
Draft Day, but
we are hosting Draft Day.
But we're not hoisting anything.
I mean, I can find some kind of trophy around here possibly to hoist, but
you're hoisting one right now.
Oh, yes. It's a beautiful one.
But Game 3 is actually going on right now.
Right now.
Right now. Actually, just a few minutes.
Well, we were hoping it was going to be behind us, so we ended up with NHL Countdown with Wayne Gretzky currently on. But
no, we're tied 0-0 in the first period right now.
Yeah, so plenty of time left to go. Make sure you definitely check it out after draft day, of course. And it's going on right now on NBC, on NBC Sports Network. So definitely make sure you go check it out. It's a great game, but obviously you want to stay here as we host the draft day.
Yes, not hoist.
Not hoist. If I hoist draft day, I might hurt my back.
Did it turn back on behind us? There it is.
There it is. So at the end of the day, definitely going to be a great series. Definitely make sure you check out that next game. But breaking a little bit of a sweat, we got to change gears to another sport.
It's a lot of gear changing.
I'm looking like I'm a guy who's a race car driver. No NASCAR references here, please. So, getting to our Major League Baseball best of the week. Tell you what, this is going to be a good one because this one sets record precedent. Because we're going to start out with mine because I don't care about yours. Mine's bigger than yours.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
You took a cop-out answer and you went with a very broad best of the week.
Well, I found both of ours, so it's okay. So at the end of the day,
that's true.
There was a record set in home runs in a month. So for Major League Baseball, the record now sits at 1,135 home runs in the month of May, setting the all-time any month record for Major League Baseball. Now, why this is significant is because we have been seeing an uptick in home runs being able to be hit. Guys that really are able to go yard and knock it clear over the fence. And what was crazy about it is going into the last day, which was May 31st, Friday, yesterday. We hit it from every angle in case you can't remember what day that was. We needed 25 home runs to break the record. Now, that seemed like a tall order. There were a bunch of games going on, but 25 home runs seemed kind of steep. We had 40 hit.
Wow, 40?
40 home runs in one day. And what's funny, and you're going to love this one because you like to bring this guy up a lot, Toronto's Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
I do.
Went deep in the 8th inning against Colorado to set the record with 1,120 home runs. And that officially broke the record. Now, if you're any good at math, which I tend to be, so I'll do it for you, they ended up hitting another 15 home runs throughout that day on top of that. That's just mind-boggling. I can't even get the words out. It's so crazy.
That is a very big feat for everyone in Major League Baseball, and especially in this day and age when you're trying to find Major League Baseball is trying to find ways to keep viewers' eyes glued to the television.
Oh, yeah.
And helping speed up the game and try to encourage more people to tune in or even go to the games. This is a really big thing for the MLB to hang its hat on. It's not just a pitching duel all the time like it was last year. The pitchers dominated quite a bit.
Definitely.
So this is really good from a marketing standpoint for Major League Baseball. So kudos to them.
Well, that's a big thing when you have these kind of sports that aren't necessarily high-scoring type of sports. To be able to have this type of offensive production is really going to help polarize it to bring people in. And that's going to be the great thing for Major League Baseball. But to rattle off some stats, because you know how much I love my stats.
Oh, you love your stats.
Oh, I love my stats.
For better or for worse.
For better or for worse. Man, I don't know. Don't tell my wife that. But anyways, when looking at it, Pittsburgh's John Bell, Houston's Alex Bregman, and Cincinnati's Derek Dietrich led the way with 12 home runs each in the month of May, topping everybody, all players. Now, you look at it from a team aspect. 3 teams hit at least 50 home runs in May. 3, not 1, not 2, 3, counting lessons.
I feel like that's the first time that's ever happened.
I think it is the first time it's ever happened that 3 teams have been able to hit that mark in the same month, with the Minnesota Twins hitting 56 home runs, the Chicago Cubs hitting 51 home runs, and hey, the Boston Red Sox hitting 51 home runs.
What happened to them? They were struggling.
I guess we're smacking balls now, buddy. But looking further down at it, the Twins only fell two runs shy of matching their record of 58 homers in a month, shared by the 1987 Orioles and the 1999 Seattle Mariners.
Those were 2 great teams, by the way.
2 amazing teams.
Those 2 teams were amazing.
Very amazing. And on top of that, with a 2,279 homers that were hit on the year after Friday's game, the league is now on pace to hit 6,510 home runs, which would easily surpass the single season record of 6,105 that was set only 2 years ago.
Just goes to show you again the trend of hitting that Major League Baseball has been encouraging over the last few years. They're trying to speed up the game so pitchers can't take nearly as long as far as between pitches and everything like that. So less preparation as far as slowing and kind of getting into the minds of hitters. But I think this is a good trend for Major League Baseball to again, try to get more viewers and pull them in to watch more games and to attend more games.
Yeah, especially if they want to try and take back the crown of America's sport. Having something like this is really, in a manner of speaking, a godsend for them.
Yeah, they're never going to get that back.
No, they're not. It belongs to football now. Thank you, Major League Baseball, for giving it a hard try.
If they wanted to, you couldn't get past the top 3 or 4. I mean, you got American football, basketball. I guess could be a second. NASCAR is probably third,
and it's still making headway. They're always trying to find ways to expand, especially now with their mass diversity programs.
Yeah, so I don't think Major League Baseball is going to unseat that America's sport anymore. But
go football.
They could still be America's pastime, I guess. But
yeah, they can hold on to that moniker. That's cute.
They can keep it.
But looking at best of the week, what do you have on tap for us?
So I'm actually using an example from one of the players that you mentioned in your best of the week. So my best of the week is first baseman of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Josh Bell. So while he was hitting 15 home runs in the month of May, he actually set his own record, 94 total bases in the month of May, which is the most since Willie Mays in 1958, and it's the most by any player in any month in the Pittsburgh Pirates' 138-year history.
That is insane.
So just to give you an idea of the type of season he's having, in 56 games this year, he's hitting .343, which is, I think, top 3 in the NL right now.
Oh, yeah.
So he's swinging the bat very well. He's got a on-base percentage of .405. He's scored 42 runs, had 74 hits, 20 doubles, 2 triples, 18 home runs, and 52 RBIs. He's off to a great start. He's off to a great start this year in Major League Baseball. So we'll see what he has in store for the next month in June, because his play is helping keep the Pittsburgh Pirates in kind of the run for the NL Central right now. I mean, they're still right around 500, but he's keeping them in the conversation.
Yes, definitely, and it's definitely been interesting, especially because the Pittsburgh Pirates kind of were becoming a story last year where they're trying to build themselves up a little bit and kind of fell short at the end. So it's definitely nice to have Josh Bell come out and be one of those real big bell cows for them and really try and do it great. So we'll definitely see how that plays out. But that has been your Major League Baseball best of the week, and it's definitely going to be exciting because even though we're getting ready to go to a little bit of a commercial break here in just a moment, we have something we're going to do real quick.
Oh, we got a surprise. First surprise of the night.
First surprise of the night is we're doing a prize giveaway.
Prize giveaway?
That's right. Because,
wait, what are we giving away?
Well, the first one we're going to be giving away is this nice University of South Florida Bulls fan jersey, number 14. This is a little bit older, but this is a nice fan favorite if you are a USF Bull. It's not for a child. It's actually a woman's.
It looks like it's for a child.
It's actually a woman's medium. So if you're a woman and you're a fan, we got you covered. We got to curtail to everybody, okay?
This is true. We have a lot of...
Remember, diversity.
Yeah, we have a lot of strong female fans out there at the show.
We do, but it seems how... It looks like we have this nice fan right here. Looks like he wants it. There you go, little boy.
See, I told you. That's a child.
Why is there a little boy here? Someone needs to get this guy out of here. Security.
And why are you throwing it to never mind.
Anyways,
giving away stuff left and right around here at FinalScore.
You know, that's what we try to do. We try to give back to the fans in any way we can, even if it happens to be some type of child who somehow miraculously appeared in this establishment.
I mean, there's a kid up there that's like a baby at the bar up there.
Okay, then it should be okay. You know what? Let's go give them that jersey.
We're in DeLand, okay? The rules don't apply over here.
Did you say D-Land?
No, I said DeLand.
D-Land.
Oh, okay, sorry, D-Land.
D-Land. So anyways, though, this has been such a wonderful time, but we do have to take a quick commercial break. But make sure you stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of NFL. We're finally going to bust out another little surprise. But before all that, we'll be bringing in our Draft Day segment.
Bringing in the beer guy.
That's right. We're going to bring in Derek, the beer guy, who's going to have a whole list of great brews that we're going to taste test, and then we're going to make our draft day pick of the month. I'm excited. It's our first time doing this.
This is great.
It's your first time. It's like my 387th. I've lost count. Anyways, make sure you stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's going to be amazing. See you in a bit.